Hi, I'm Rick Itzkowitz, and I'm the creator of QuoteActions. Are you considering using QuoteActions but are not quite certain what the return on your investment is going to be? That's a pretty common thought that people who have used QuoteActions have had. So hopefully I can help you evaluate and answer this question for you. So to do that, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And the first one is, do you have any people who have expressed interest in your product or service who have yet to purchase your product? Okay, next question. Do you have people who have purchased your product or service in the past who will probably do so again in the future, but they're not currently among those people who are purchasing? Okay, third question. When it comes to follow-up, how good are you? Let me give you a continuum for you to place yourself in. On one end is the person who's a master at follow-up. And to me, a master at follow-up is someone who has a system for ongoing connections and follow-up with their entire database. So it's not just that they do it from time to time, but they have a systematic approach to do that, and they do it on a regular basis with their entire database. At the other end of the spectrum is a person who has zero follow-up. Not only do they not have a system, but they very infrequently do any kind of follow-up. So within that range, where do you fall? So, having answered those three questions, let me just share with you that if you answered yes to either one of the first two, meaning the people who have expressed an interest but who have yet to buy, or people who have bought from you in the past, then you are sitting on a gold mine. And the reason for that is because people will buy when they're ready to buy, not when we're ready to sell to them. So many of those people who have expressed interest or who have purchased from you in the past will be ready at some point in the future. And the key is that we don't know when that's going to be, which is why we need to have follow-up. And the more often and the more frequent that we have the follow-up without annoying the people that we follow up with, then the better the chance that we will succeed when they're ready to purchase. Let me give you a couple of examples that validate this, and then I'll ask you another question to help you decide whether QuoteActions make sense for you financially or not. One of the subscribers to QuoteActions shared this with me, that when they first decided to invite their people to receive QuoteActions, they decided to follow my suggestion and they invited everybody in their database. This person happened to have their database in Outlook, and she said, before I cleaned up or did anything, I decided, well, I'm going to send it to everybody. And interestingly enough, she received 2 responses from people that she was highly surprised that they had even responded, because she had pretty much given up on them. In fact, she told me that had she actually been selecting the people who she thought would be good candidates to receive this, she would have never sent this to these 2 individuals. Well, to make a long story short, one of those individuals responded to her invitation saying how glad he was to hear from her, and because it had been a while, but he was now ready to participate in one of our courses. She does seminars herself, and that initiated a conversation that led to a $4,000 sale. Let me give you the flip side of this, and that's a personal experience of mine where the company actually lost a ton of money because they failed to follow up with me. And that was earlier this year. My wife took me here in the neighborhood of where we live, and they had an open house where they were showing some solar systems. And at the time I had zero interest in purchasing one because they were relatively pricey, and where I was at, I was just not interested. But I went there, and I was glad that I did, because I got an education. I got to see some possibilities and some ideas that I had that actually got me thinking, I may want to do that at some point. But certainly I wasn't interested even after seeing that. Well, I received a phone call from the salesperson a few days later, and to me nothing had changed. And so I didn't pursue that, and neither did he. So to make a long story short, as we fast forward about 7 or 8 months, I am now highly motivated to find a solar system. And when I tried to go back and connect the company, because they seem like a good company, a reputable company, I couldn't remember the name of the company, nor did I keep the card of the salesperson. And since they hadn't followed up for me, they are not even in the running for me to consider them to purchase the system. In fact, I just agreed to purchase the system, and that system is going to be a little over $20,000, which the company who spent all that money in advertising to educate me is going to see zero out of it. And this is not an uncommon occurrence for people. Many people do all the hard work of educating, getting people interested or excited, but statistics show that a very small percentage of the people who will eventually buy a product or service do so right away, which means it's all up to the follow-up. And QuoteActions, it's a fabulous way to keep your prospects, your customers, your past customers from forgetting about you. So the fact that you send them a quote action on at least once a week basis, if not more often, ensures that they will be thinking of you when the time is right for them to purchase. So I told you I was going to ask you one more question, so here it goes. How many orders, how many sales would you need to make to have a return on your investment to the price of what QuoteActions is for you to not only break even, but to start making money as a result of it? My sense is that you wouldn't need that many sales. So when you consider that, and the fact that we give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, you can actually try this out, and if you do not earn sufficient money to pay for QuoteActions at the end of the first 2 months, ask for your money back and we'll give it to you. No questions asked. That's how certain we are that you will benefit from this. So thank you for listening and enjoy an extraordinary day.